Now, effective communication with Phil Zeller, CEO, Dale Carnegie, Southwest Michigan.
Hey, this is a shout out to Giovanni. Gio, hey, how you doing down there in Roma, my friend? Yes, they call it Roma. They don't call it Rome. Gio gave me a little education there. I was in Italy not long ago, and I'm in Rome. And if you ever get to go to Roma, you gotta, it's so funny. So here he is. He's saying, he goes, what is it with you people who speak English? You change all the names of our cities. It's not Rome. It's Roma. And I'm like, okay, dude, okay, it's all good. It's all good. I'm visiting, okay? It's all good. So he's giving me an education on the names and how to pronounce things. And io capisco un po' italiano, huh? See, yeah, so that's for my Italian friends out there. I speak a little Italian. And I married into an Italian family, so it's always great to get back to Italy. And so there I am in Roma. And I'm there with my wife and my sister-in-law and my two kids for the first time joining us over there in Italy. And we decided to hire a great tour guide named Gio. And they go in for Gio for short, make it easy on us. So Gio. You can call him wherever you want. His real name was Giovanni. and here we are. He picks us up, and he's a character. He's telling jokes. He's having a good time, and we get in the vehicle with him to go take a tour of Rome, and he's going to take us to all the different sites in Roma. And again, for my English friends, it's Rome, and for them, it's Roma. And it is their city, so I guess I got to call it Roma because it is their city. It is a beautiful city, too. It's actually one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to. And I'm there in Roma. He's driving us around. And the first thing my wife says to him is this, we got to make a stop. And he's like, well, which site do you want to stop at first? Do you want to stop at the Colosseum? Do you want to stop at Trevi Fountain? What do you want to stop at? The Spanish Steps? What do you want to see in Roma? And she said, well, my daughter wants to stop at IKEA. And he goes, what? IKEA? He goes, no. He goes, we're in Roma. You got to see Roma. And my wife says to him, well, my daughter, she wants a stuffed animal, and you can only get it in Italy in IKEA, and it's a big stuffed bear, and she's got to have this bear to make her trip complete. And he's like, really? And she's like, explain it to him, and all of a sudden he realizes, yeah, this is serious. So he goes, all right, IKEA it is. He drives us over to IKEA, and he can't believe he's shaking his head the whole time. Crazy Americanos, right? They want to go to IKEA. They're in Roma, and they want to go to IKEA. So we go to IKEA, and of course my wife and my kids and my sister-in-law run the store to go get this bear. So I hang out with this guy, and I want to chit-chat with him. He's a character. He's a funny guy. So we're swapping stories, and he tells me he lived in the United States for 12 years. And so that was a great opportunity for me. As I always share with you in effective communication, you're always seeking to understand. And that's the best approach you can take with any other human being, is seek to understand their perspective. What have they experienced? And why is that important to them? And when you do this with people, you get such an education. That's why I love to travel, because I love to have these conversations. So we're sitting out in the front of IKEA and just having a conversation and burn clock while they're going to go get this bear. And he says, I was in the United States for 12 years. I worked in the United Nations. And he goes, you know what the greatest lesson I had to learn in the United States? And I said, well, what is it? Sure. I'd love to learn from you. I always want to learn from other people. He goes, you Americans like your space. You really like your space. I said, well, tell me about it. What do you mean by that? He goes, well, in here in Italy, we our space pretty much ends at where our body parts and limbs end. So, if somebody brushes up to you, no big thing. It happens all day long here. But you Americans, you don't like it when people brush up against you. You like space. It's like you have this little space around you of like 2 or 3 feet around your body, and you don't want people to enter into that. And so I'm like, tell me more about that. And I'm just really genuinely being interested in what he has to say and get his perspective on things. But did you notice the way he positioned it? It wasn't as a negative thing. It was, this is something he had to learn in his time in America. So he had to adapt and be adaptive in the situation and realize that wherever you go, you have to adapt. The world is not going to adapt to you. You have to adapt to it. And as I'm listening, explain this to me, I said, this makes sense, because if you ever got in a car and drove around Italy, you're going to realize that the way they drive is they drive the same way that they get on an elevator. I mean, they are tight. They are on it. And he goes, the crazy thing about it is, for some reason, Americans think their personal space goes around their vehicle for 3 feet too. He goes, and it doesn't. And I thought, what a great perspective. And I thought it was such an educational moment for me to learn from somebody else. And it wasn't negative, it was just different. So as you go through your day and you meet different people, realize it's not negativity. Look for what's different and appreciate the differences in people, differences in culture, and boy, will you get an incredible education. So be adaptive when you travel, be adaptive in the world, and really take the time to listen to other folks, and you'll learn something, my friends. It's well worth it. Now go make it happen.